I'm extremely excited to introduce to you some people who are quite near and dear to my heart, and yes, indeed, raised and provided for me for all of my life. Yes. Dr. Ofundem Nokuri, ne Ako Are, is a graduate of Penn State Medical School and has practiced as an ER pediatrician for over 20 years. She is passionate about providing medical care to children, and she has led medical missions alongside her husband, Dr. Samuel Nokuri, in the southwest region of Cameroon, where they were born. She is also a co-founder and owner of Premier Health Express, a Maryland-based medical clinic that caters to veterans and educators, which is going on about 7 years of operations. I think we had our 7th anniversary this year, this month, actually. Look at God. And Dr. Samuel Nokuri is Dr. Ofundem's husband. I had to put that first. Dr. Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Nokuri is a proud member of the armed forces, serving in the United States Air Force for almost 18 years. He is the head of Premier Health Express, co-owned with Dr. Ofundem Nokuri, where he performs services for veterans and ensures they receive benefits for service-related injuries. He graduated from Ross Medical School and has practiced internal medicine for many years. One of his actual greatest accomplishments is embarking on the medical missions to Cameroon, where he and Dr. Ofundem are working to establish more robust healthcare systems for their home villages. Now here to tell you more about the origins and the aspirations of their medical missions, here are the incomparable Nokuri Foundation co-founders, Drs. Ofundem and Samuel Nokuri.
Good evening, and welcome to the Nokuri Foundation and obviously the Night of Hope. In this segment of the Fireside Chat, I'm greatly honored to have my better half, wife, and boss here on stage with me, Dr. Ofundem Nokuri.
Okay, good evening. Welcome.
I think.
I got you, Mama. All right, I'm very happy to see you guys tonight, and I'm still very moved by the amusing music that we just had by the big band. I'm still really mesmerized. That was great, but thank you all for coming, and we'd like to talk about a little bit about what we've been doing this past year and what our aspirations are.
So a great part about our foundation was that it basically is grounded from our family's community service. But there was a pivotal point when we lost our brother John Fominki, who had sickle cell. He fought valiantly and left behind a very strong legacy. And it's really sort of that event that led us to start the Nokuri Foundation.
Yes, we started the mission trips, around about a year after your brother passed away, and that's about when we met. And we've been doing a lot to help the sickle cell children in Cameroon, and that's part of the mission, as well as the things we're doing here in the United States.
Yeah. Doing the mission is really one part. The journey is another. But it's also the importance of understanding our family's heritage, our family's legacy. And that is key because we have been blessed, and in front of us has been a very strong legacy of service in the academic field, and certainly in the health and as well as the military.
Yes, I agree with what Sam says. Our parents and grandparents served in the communities in the areas of education. All our parents were teachers, and also health and military personnel. Like as Imani already mentioned, Sam is working. He's in the Air Force and actually working on becoming a full bird colonel at this point. And the father before him was in the military in Cameroon, and his grandfather was also in the military in Cameroon. So it didn't matter where they were, they still carried the same service.
And so we'd like to share with you just to highlight some of the very key pivotal part of the achievements of our parents. As Imani had mentioned, last year we had one of our, a couple of years ago, one of our matrix, Mrs. Pamela B. Duke, who was a great influence to us all. She was a teacher, pastor's wife, a missionary. She traveled throughout the world and had great impact. And last year we presented a grant to Glenelg High School on behalf of her legacy, the Pam B. Duke Impact Grant. And that is, thank you. And that is key, that is important. But the history behind that was that Glenelg happened to be the place where she spent a lot of time prior to her passing. It also has become a fertile ground, if not for all of her children that have gone through the high school with such stellar academics. And you can see here today, a couple of our kids were out there, certainly furthering the mission, and Imani and Bakari are also on stage. So they're putting forth their skills in honor of her legacy.
Yes, in everything we do, we try to involve our kids and use all their talents and skills to achieve, so they can continue with the legacy that we have. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so I mean, definitely. So philanthropy is a big thing. It's just not just one of the few things we just walked into. It's a legacy thing that we have been blessed with, and it's key to make sure that we carry it on to the next generation.
Yes, we are not rich per se, but we try to do, it's the whole idea of pulling somebody up as you go. You don't have to have too much to help the next person. Sometimes doesn't take a lot, it just takes the will to do so. It turns out, we sort of try to follow in our parents' footsteps. It was mostly education. They were able to, through their help, through their the aspect of education, we're able to become who we are, physicians today, and so we use that to give back. My father was, he passed away recently, may his soul rest in peace. He was an educator. He did not come from a family where people were educated. He was the first out of his family, and he wanted to get educated. So he continued to pursue his goals. He was a teacher, then he became a principal. After he finished university, he became a principal in a high school. High school back home is it's a combination of middle school and high school. It's college. It's called college. It's a combination of middle school and high school here. So that's his role. He was just starting this school. There were barely any students. And so he will go into the villages and look for eligible students who could take the entrance exam and pass, and he will enroll them into the school. So he was pulling kids out of, some of the adults who are now in their 60s and 70s say if he didn't come and pull them from where they were, they will still be hunters and gardeners and not be anywhere out of the village. So that's, I didn't even know all of this till, he passed away. All these people came and gave all this testimony about what my father had done, and we were pretty surprised. We knew he was an educationer. He did that with us, but we didn't know the extent of what he had done. So, yeah.
And then, of course, there are matriarchs who are currently leaving. My mother, Ms. Beatrice Nokuri, and Mrs. Sophia Akuare. Both whom, again, were teachers. My mother was a headmistress. She also was the president of the Baptist Convention in Cameroon in Africa. They both used their platform to make sure that there was equality and access to education, especially for young girls. It was a time when girls really were not allowed to have education, and they used their platform. They also opened several schools throughout the southern part of Cameroon, and some of the schools we're going to be basically able to talk about here today. And so it is key to understand both of them are trailblazers for us all, a legacy that has been enthroned to us, and we certainly have to continue on. But I do want to, recently we had a mission trip, and we came across a very young man, and I'd like to share his story tonight. His name is Tony Blair, and that is not to confuse with the Prime Minister, the prior Prime Minister of Britain, Tony Blair. But Tony was born with sickle cell disease, and like many sickle cell children born to a family that they were not expecting, his family went and left him by the riverside, and there was thankfully a fisherman that found Tony and brought Tony to my mother, and my mother found a home for Tony, enrolled Tony in the school that she had opened up. And Tony was able to go through and graduate and get his primary education. He's a young man, he's full of ambition, but sickle cell has really, really ravaged his life. And so we'd like to talk a little bit about his story tonight.
Yes, I first met Tony Blair when we did a mission trip in 2015. He was, he looked jaundiced, very small for his age. He was about 8 years old at that time. But you could see he had, very great spirit. He was very personable and, wanted to live a full life. But you could see how burdened he was by the disease.
Yeah. And the children like this, they suffer not just from the elements of sickle cell, but also other aspects of food, insecurities in homes, that if you see living conditions, there's just no way our standard of living you'll be able to want to see someone then adding sickle cell disease as a condition. So obviously, they are a great inspiration to us all.
Yes, absolutely. Tony Blair and other children living with sickle cell disease are, great inspiration. Despite the health challenges, they are resilient, strive for a normal life, and their journey reminds us of the power of hope and strength of the human race, even in the toughest of situations.
Our mother, and we'll switch on after this, our mother takes great pride whenever a kid like Tony Blair is brought to her, she will start dancing.
Yes.
She's 88 years old.
Yes,
she's 88 years old. And she was just there dancing, and most people don't understand why, but we do, because we know, like it says in the Bible, whenever there is a life that is saved, heaven and the angels rejoice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my brother Beatrice, she loves those children. Every one of them is her children. It's like a family. She cares for them, goes to visit them every week, takes the medications that we send, and she really looks at them as family. So it's a tremendous, great stuff that she's doing.
And so again, this brings us to a very important part of tonight, and that is for us to share our goals moving into 2026. 2025 was really a tremendous year. We set a great, continuation of most of the work we were doing. But it is now important for us to reach out to the community. It's important for us to collaborate with other organizations. There is a saying that our parents used to always say, and it's an African principle. It's called Mbutu. Mbutu means that things that are bundled together are hard to break. You remember that?
Yes. My mom used to always use that a lot when we were growing up. She would take a stick. We used to, we grew up, you learn how to count using sticks, counting sticks. And she'll take one and break it. And, she says, break it. And then you'll break it. And then she'll give you 6 and say, try to break this. And it's very difficult to break. And all she was trying to teach us is the power of togetherness. Like by yourself, you're easy to break. When you're together as a community or as a family with others, then it's very hard to break.
And this is a principle we make sure our children learn about it, because without togetherness, you can't stand. You can't stand alone. And so this year we're partnering with key foundations. One of the foundation, Bright Minds Foundation, here in Howard County. That's a foundation that oversees education, access to education, especially to young children. And then we're also partnering with Howard County Veteran Foundation. They have a strong legacy in caring for veterans and representing veterans. These are key, important steps for us as a foundation, because small acts like that is what certainly provides the change, first within your family, in your community, the state, and then hopefully across the globe.
Yes. Do you want to talk about the Swiss clinic with Dr.
Yeah.
King?
So the other thing too was while we were there, we happened to walk into a gentleman who has a clinic. His name is Dr. Thompson Kinga. He is an infectious disease and internal medicine physician, and his clinic is essentially 3 levels and is under construction. With the issue of access to care to most of the sickle cell patients, we were so glad, we were so fortunate to have him work with us. And so what he's willing to do is to open his clinic. And of course, Premier Health Express and the Nokuri Foundation will certainly help to make sure we furnish the clinic and get it open. And we're hoping that perhaps this December, we're going to be able to open that for the sickle cell children.
Right. It was very, I think, it was a blessing to come across Dr. King because he really has the same vision that we have. The plan is that we help him open the clinic. It's 3 floors, it's a lot of different suites, and he, in turn, can give us a hub for the sickle cell kids. We still have the issue of the sickle cell kids being sick and going to the hospital, and they have to have upfront money to get any kind of care. And there is no liability. Whether you die, if you don't have money, you can't sue anybody. It's not, like the United States. So what he's going to provide for us, we help him set up the clinic. He provides a hub where the kids can walk in, they can get their pain medication, they can get their antibiotic, they can even stay overnight, and free of charge. That way, the financial load is taken off of these families. Recently, an 8-year-old at the end of last year died from this sickle cell family because the parents could not afford to take her to the hospital. She became sick, she had fever, she was at home, and they just wouldn't take her because they didn't have any money to pay, and so she passed away. We heard about it after the fact, and it's still very distressing to us. So this is the kind of situations that we're trying to avoid. If we have somewhere, these families, they know to call us when they're sick, and they can say, go to Swiss clinic, or if they just know to go to the clinic is always there, open arms to welcome them and care for them.
Yeah.
So that's the main goal for this year. It's really working on getting that hub for acute care. They need a lot of acute care, and that really is the goal.
And so as we move into 2026, our goal, especially on a night like today, is to be able to share with you the objectives of what the foundation will be pursuing in the year of 2026. It is critical that on this day we not only demonstrate how proud we are of the heritage of our parents that have been passed on to us, but also to collectively have our children to be a part of this demonstration of reciprocity, giving back to the community.
Yes, as you can see, our children are very involved in this endeavor. You met Imani, who just graduated from law school, and she is the MC of this occasion and has helped in different aspects of setting this up. You also met Bakari, who's with the gift of the music, who provides the music for us, and he does a tremendous amount of background in coordination to get this to work. We also are involving Lauren, our youngest. She's 15. She goes to Glenelg High School. Hopefully, she still says she wants to become a doctor. I don't know, but we shall see. But we involve her also. She had a job. She's planning on. We're setting a library for the Reyes School. That is a partner school in Limbe. They do not have a library. It's a school. They do not have a library. I know you guys might be thinking, well, do people really need libraries these days as a computer? Trying to use Wi-Fi in Cameroon, I mean, there's no way you can study that way. So yes, it is an option for the United States and many other developed countries. It's definitely not an option for Cameroon. So people still need, they still need libraries. I do know a lot of people have books that are sitting in their basements, attics that they're not using. We'll be glad to accept some of these books, so we can give it to the people who need it in Cameroon. Then lastly, we have Christina, who is also helping us with setting up the EMR. She's a computer science major at UMBC. She's helping us with setting up the EMR for Cameroon so they can use electronic records rather than writing in books and papers. So in that way we can, carry the legacy forward and continue to, for the whole family to be involved.
So we will, close on the remark of understanding that we're both physicians, where this is sitting on stage and talking. We're not, as you can see, most of you guys are like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. This is not our strongest suit. However, this has been a journey, and this is the journey part, where you start and then there is such a miraculous making and a movement that happens that doesn't only transform everyone else but you. We have been greatly touched and moved to watch these children become inspiration of sheer hope and fortitude, the very aspect of the human spirit. I have been transformed watching Tony Blair when he talks about his sickle cell crisis and how much he clings on to gospel. Because in any moment in time in his crisis, that could be the last breath he takes. That transforms me. To watch my boss be there with me, hand, side and side. You see a different aspect of each other. That transforms me. And finally, my children, our children, all of us, our children, to see that they can lay their gifts, understanding that their gifts wasn't made for them. It's not for them to get the spotlight. It is for them to make sure that they serve the community. And to do that, that transforms me.
Yes, I agree. And the other set of children tonight is the big band. We want to thank their parents for letting them do what they're doing tonight. That is amazing. It doesn't take just the child. It takes the child and the parent. I know the adults, but it takes the parent as well. We really want to thank the parents who are here on the behalf of their children in Big Band for shouting out for us.
So thank you so much. And may God bless you, and may God bless your families. Thank you.